Hello, welcome back once again to Mansfield Ceramics Gallery. Tonight we're opening a joint exhibition with Nanna, a Finnish artist who now lives in Tasmania in Australia, and the Australian ceramic artist Judy Boydell. So, welcome, Nanna, here to the gallery. First of all, I'd like to ask you about your work. It's widely recognised as a response to your environment. If we read about you online or in magazines, you're often responding, would that be right, to your Finnish environment? So my first question to you is your work now about a response to the Australian environment and landscape and your situation here? How has that changed, or has it not at all?
Thank you for inviting me.
Mm-hmm.
First thing, it has changed. Maybe it's not so prominent in this work now, or these works I am having at the moment. Some of the colors are different. The colors or color combinations I'm using are so different what I used to use in Finland. Yes, I now use more bright colors like orange and yellow, and in Finland I think I used more grayish, bluish, more dark.
Because of a response to the natural environment?
Yes, we have such long winters, and then during the winter the colors are more or less different shades of grey.
Mm-hmm. Yes, as opposed to the bright
blue,
of Tasmania.
Yeah.
And your work is also, it's very fragile. And is there a reason for that?
I'm trying to maybe, I don't know if they are that fragile, really. They look fragile.
Yes.
I like the contrast of rough outer surface, because I don't glaze the outer surface. And there is tiny little texture left from the fabric when I roll the slabs. Mm-hmm. They are all hand built, I mean. And I like the contrast of that fragility and then the rough surface. Yes, and I also would like to think that we tend to want to own everything.
Yeah.
But we can't own beauty. Mm-hmm. And I would like to remind us that almost internationally, if you think everybody loves sunsets and sunrises, but we can't own it. And somehow I try to remind us with my fragile work that
there's a transience there.
Yeah, they might break, and then you can't own it anymore.
And you work in porcelain?
Yes, I've been working with porcelain more than 20 years.
Which is a strong material.
It is. And then with this technique, this nerikomi. Yeah.
Could I ask you to talk a little bit about the technique for our viewers?
Yes, nerikomi or neriake is an old Japanese technique where you color the clay. It doesn't need to be porcelain, but I use porcelain because porcelain is the purest, the whitest, and then the colors are more bright in porcelain. So I color the clay first with different colors and combine them together, cut thin slices, and then roll really thin slabs from those.
And for this particular exhibition, is this a new body of work? Did you make it specifically for this show?
Yeah.
And what was the intention behind this exhibition for you, the work that you're showing? Because it's a very broad range.
It is, yes. Well, I just can't get rid of this Scandinavian design kind of, and I tend to bring always some sort of design ideas. Yes. And this one, I wanted to have a little bit fun. So all these cups and pots are from same conical shape. So some of them are extremely tiny. So I've been playing with the diameter.
Yes.
And
the
diameter and the height. So if you imagine of having a big cone or conical shape, and then you cut different slices. So I've been playing with that sort of it's difficult to explain, and it's not so obvious really when you see the work.
So you actually stack them. So you cut them.
You could stack these, and then it would be, I don't know, 1.5 meter high.
Okay.
Stack of pots.
Oh, that's lovely. That's very. I have to say that gives us an insight into the work.
Yeah.
And you've also, I mean, you've got wall pieces as well. So this is something else that you're doing. So hanging work.
Yeah, I want to loosen. I want to get
to be looser.
Looser and leave the functional work behind.
Yes.
And I have made little frames, which I think they are windows. And I have used really thin nylon thread and was sewing these thin plates of what I regard as flowers.
Okay.
And I think they are sort of city gardens or hanging
City
gardens.
Yeah.
So you look out of the window, you can see flowers.
So are you thinking back to Finland with the flowers, or are they Australian flowers? Or
I was thinking of I'm living on countryside in Tasmania, and I was thinking that this exhibition will be in a city, and I wanted to bring this sort of my garden to the city.
That's
and
beautiful.
And because the fauna is so different here in Australia to any other country, and I love plants and flowers and seed pods and
Excellent, brilliant. Thank you.
you.
And sitting beside me now, we have Judy Boydell, who is widely known in Australia and beyond as a wood firer, but we're actually exhibiting her work with Nanna, which is not wood firing. So I'm going to ask Judy to talk to us a little bit about that. So welcome, Judy.
Thank you. Thanks, Bernadette.
And your work here, we can see it behind with this beautiful brushwork. Could I ask you to talk a little bit through the technique?
Well, the pieces are formed from raku clay, and they're fired to 1,000, 1,200, no, not quite that hot, about 1,100. And then I glaze them and smoke them in wood. So I just have that little connection with wood. I can't let it go.
No, absolutely. And would I be right in saying that there's always, well, maybe often, a utility in the forms that you make? And is that important to you?
It's not so important, but I suppose it's a sort of a habit. It's in my training. I learned to make useful things.
Yes.
I like useful things.
Yes.
But I also like decorative things.
Yes.
So maybe it's a bit of each.
A bit of each.
Yes.
And could I just talk about, because people have already come into the gallery whilst the work's been here, keep coming back to the brushwork here. Is this something that you've been developing over recent years, or has it always been part of your practice?
I've always wanted to do it, and I was never quite brave enough to be sploshy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But going back now, I mean, it would be remiss of me not to talk about your long-standing engagement with the field of ceramics in Australia. So you trained at the National Art School, which was the old East Sydney Tech.
Yes.
Can I ask how many years ago?
Yes, it was in the 1970.
1970, yes. And
yes.
You have, throughout all of those decades, raising young children, so raising a family, you continue to make work, enormous amounts of work. I mean, anybody who goes to your wonderful home in Erskineville, it's packed high with pots. You've been firing continuously, and you've also been engaged with groups like the Ceramic Study Group and the Potters Society, etc., etc. Can I ask you to talk a little bit about the importance of, I suppose, the ceramics community in Australia, because you have been such a part of it and continue
it's
to
so
be.
important.
Yes.
The seduction of clay is one thing, but all the people I meet who have dealings with clay, you know, whether it's through building kilns or making, constructing, whether it's the chemistry they want to research, whatever it is, it all seems to tie together, and there seems to be Well, I suppose it's like any community.
Yes.
It's really important, and I also believe in supporting communities, the groups, the ceramic study group, and the
Yes.
and
what was the Potter Society and is
yeah, it
now
was the Potter Society,
the Australian Ceramics
Association. Oh, we've got it right.
And if we can go back again to those 70s, because I
Yes.
think that your story is a lovely story. How did you first become involved with clay? So, you know, you were living on the North Shore of Sydney.
Yes.
Was it something that you did at school and you came back to?
No, I had no art experience. I did all science subjects at school. I was looking for something to do, and I loved cooking. I love eating. You know, so that's the beginning of it. It's to do with eating.
Yes.
And I wanted a friend had made some branded fruit, and she had it in a series of storage jars, ceramic storage jars. So I asked her about it. She was very English.
Yes.
And of course, darling, what you do is you just take one of these ceramic storage jars,
Yes.
you put the fruit in it, you go glob, glob, glob with
Yes.
the brandy
Yes.
and a stick of cinnamon and
Yes.
so on. So I did this, but mine was I bought a special container, but it was the wrong sort of ceramics, and when I opened the lid it had gone to complete mildew.
Oh no!
And so I thought, I can't show my ignorance. So I went off to find out about clay and what temperatures one could fire to.
Wow! And that's how it
And
started.
then that was much more important to
Yes.
me. Yes.
But it would have still been a brave move back in the 70s with young children to come from where you were living into what was then the East Sydney Tech. And did you come in the evenings?
Yes,
Is
I
that
was a
what-
part-time student for about 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years.
Yes, as we could be in those days.
That's right.
I had done a year with Sue Forsyth at the St Ives Leisure Centre.
Okay.
Yes, and that's where I got my first taste.
And so you women, you pioneers of the 70s, one can only imagine that you just packed everything up during the day, got all the kids sorted, got in the car, came into Sydney. And when did you did you then build your own studio at home, or?
No, as the children got a bit older, I appropriated their cubby house.
Okay.
and I built a brick kiln.
Yes.
But I couldn't afford to get the gas put on, so I used to drive into Chinatown
Yes.
and get on Tuesday nights, I think it was, when they put their garbage out, and I'd collect all the wooden boxes that were in Chinatown to do wood firing.
Oh wow.
So I wood fired right from the beginning. I tried a Margaret Tuxton kiln, but that wasn't big enough or satisfying, so I did another one, and so it went on.
And so it went. And of
Bit
course,
of a snowball.
and you've enjoyed magnificent friendships over your career, not least of all with Janet, who was really your closest friend.
Yes.
And you know, it's just so important, I think, to record, I think, the stories of women such as yourself. And so we are delighted that you've taken the time to share that with us today.
Oh, Bernie, I'm delighted too.
Thanks so much, Jude.
Thank you. Oh, well, I met Nanna at Gulgong. Like, everybody important goes to Gulgong, and it's just a very exciting, wonderful time. And anyway, I met Nanna there, and she came to my place one day for lunch, and we hit it off very well back in Sydney, and she came and she stayed with me, and when Bernadette asked us to asked me to have an exhibition, I said, yes, that'd be great. And then Nanna said, oh, Bernadette has asked her to have an exhibition. Let's do it together.
Oh yes. Judy's place is almost my second home here in Australia, because I haven't been much to mainland, and when I come to Sydney, I just love her home and studio and all these pots she has been making during many years, I think. And then we had also few nice days this summer in Australian winter, European summer in Finland.
Yes, we had a wonderful time, didn't we? I just loved it. It was so different. And we went to where Nanna had lived for 10 years practicing as a craftsperson. And it's it's like Warrandyte, where there are many craftspeople and artists. And Nanna worked there for a long time till she fell in love with an Australian resident.
Yeah, that's the reason why I'm in Tasmania.
So, once again, thanks so much for taking the time to have a peek at what we're doing at Mansfield Ceramics. This is an amazing show by two of the most amazing female artists. So come along. Thank you very much, Judy Boydell and Nanna Bayer. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you.